Hey, I'm CDiinky. Alrighty guys, in today's video we are going to be going over the pond inside of Grounded 2. I've made a ton of videos recently about Grounded 2's park and creature speculations, and I really haven't been giving the pond a lot of love, so today I'm going to be doing a pond speculation video. But just before we start today's video guys, if you guys have been enjoying this Grounded 2 speculation kind of video, go ahead and subscribe to the channel to show your support, I'd really appreciate it, and let's jump straight into today's video. Alright, so we know there is going to be a pond biome inside of Grounded 2. If you look at the KLBB11 news from the overhead shot, we see what looks to be maybe 1/3 to 2/3 of the map, because Grounded is going to be 3 times the size of the backyard. And if we take a closer look at the map, we see what looks to be some sort of pond slash river. We see there's going to be a ton of lily pads, looks like to be a tire down in the bottom right, and a fallen over tree. And if we have a look up the channel, we see the rustic bridge, which is going to be a location marked on the park map. I think it's like location number 8 rustic bridge. Not too sure what could be here at the rustic bridge for now, but I'm speculating there could be some sort of boss, but we will get into that in a later point in the video. After the bridge, it seems to be a larger channel of a body of water. Not too sure if the teens will be able to get there. I don't think so. It seems way too big for the teens to traverse or even explore, so there might be like some sort of net just below the bridge. So now let's come back to the center of the pond. On the right side of the pond, it does look very shallow unless the tree that has fallen over is quite large. So there could be the possibility of the pond having different zones segmented in difficulty. So the far right side is the shallow end, and that's going to be the easiest place with like barely any difficult creatures or any predatorial creatures anyway, and then the far left side could be the most dangerous area, where it's like the upper yard inside of Grounded 1 where everything is going to attack you. Now I have seen some of the community speculate if there is going to be a pond in the early access release for Grounded 2. As we know, Grounded 2 is coming into early access, which means over the course of maybe 2 to 3 years, Grounded is going to get updates for new biomes, new creatures, and a lot more. But I have some convincing evidence that the pond is going to be coming into Grounded 2 on its early access release. As you can see here, Pete here has some sort of bug mount, which looks very similar to the water boatman, and water boatmans are the water creatures from Grounded 1, and considering Pete has a mount to them here, it's pretty fair to say that there is going to be a pond or some sort of content in the pond for Grounded 2. If water boatmen are going to be the creatures inside of the new pond, it's pretty safe to say that water fleas and tadpoles will also be making a return. I'm not too sure about the diving bell spiders. They weren't really having a big use inside of Grounded 1, although they could come back in Grounded 2 and have a better use. And for those people who love the koi fish inside of Grounded, I do not think a koi fish is going to return into Grounded 2. I think the devs are going to think about a new better creature or a more dangerous creature to put inside the pond, considering it's going to be bigger. The koi fish was a threat inside of Grounded 1, but she was pretty easy to avoid if you just like either stick low in the water, or you can go ahead and just jump out of the water when she's about to attack you. But once again, who knows, these are all just speculations. Now it's my time to just rant about the pond inside of Grounded 1. I really hope that the pond in Grounded 2 is going to be 10 times as better as the pond in Grounded 1. Don't get me wrong guys, the pond inside of Grounded 1 is a great place to traverse. It's a very unique place to explore as well. You're going to need to get like underwater gear. But I think we can all agree here, once we explore the pond and do the pond lab, which takes like, I don't know, maybe a couple of hours to fully explore the pond, we are never ever going to come back down to the pond, either than getting the mussel sprouts that like grow every 3 in-game days, coming back down to activate the stump lab with the assistant manager keycard, or just getting a bit of algae, and then if you're wanting to get all the gold cards. That's the only reason you're going to come down back into the pond. There's real no other reason to be coming down here. So what I hope Grounded 2 does when it comes to the brand new pond is once again having 3 different zones. We have an early zone, which is going to have like a bunch of passive creatures, maybe 1 or 2 aggressive. We go to the medium zone, which is going to have some better loot and resources, and also some more aggressive creatures. And then we have the tier 3 zone, or the most dangerous zone, which is going to have the best loot and the most dangerous creatures, similar to how Subnautica has the different biomes. I haven't played Subnautica personally, but I know there is like a green zone, blue zone, and a red zone. I'll go ahead and talk about the creatures I would love to see in each zone in just a second, but one thing that I would love, and I think a lot of the fans would love inside of Grounded 2 as well, is allowing us to have an underwater base. I think that's what Grounded was lacking, was some sort of underwater base. Granted, there was really nothing to do inside of Grounded 1 with underwater, but if Grounded 2 has these different zones, having an underwater base would be absolutely huge, and it would be gorgeous to just see and look out like the pond dome of all the creatures there. So now let's go over some of my speculations for creatures that could be coming inside of the pond inside of Grounded 2, and starting off with the cut creatures, it is going to be the water strider. These guys were cut before the pond update inside of Grounded 1, and what they basically did was stride across the water. They allowed you to walk across the water with their water skis. Although it doesn't work in the footage, it could be cool to see in Grounded 2. Considering the pond is a large area, it could be easy to traverse across the lake and you don't need to like go through the water and like be attacked by some dangerous creatures. Next up we have leeches. These once again were a cut content from Grounded 1. These guys would have been cool to see inside of Grounded 1, but it makes sense of why they were cut. They kind of didn't work out as intended, and it also seems kind of odd that there are leeches inside of the pond, but these would be a great addition inside of Grounded 2, as the pond could be twice the size of the first one, and they can go ahead and drop leech sacks, which can be used for a harpoon gun, which was going to be the case inside of Grounded 1, and also having better underwater weapons would be an amazing thing too. For Grounded 1 we only have the bone trident and the bone dagger, and also the other spider daggers. I know spears do work underwater as well, but having like underwater specific weapons would be amazing. Okay, now it's time to speculate some of the creatures I would love to see inside of the pond. These aren't going to be cut creatures, these are going to be creatures I would love to see off the top of my head. And starting off, the obvious one that people have been wanting since Grounded 1 is going to be some sort of underwater or just land frog. There are tadpoles inside of Grounded 1, and considering there are tadpoles, where are the frogs? There are a ton of tadpoles inside of Grounded 1 and not a singular frog. I know Xbox One and the old gen consoles couldn't support it, but if Grounded 2 could have some sort of frog that could be a boss or like a mini boss, I'm not too sure what the armor set or the weapon could be for the frog boss, but if you guys have any ideas, leave them down below in the comments. The next couple of creatures I have in mind is going to be a dragonfly and the dragonfly larvae. The larvae of a dragonfly is primarily underwater. They are aquatic creatures, so it just makes sense to chuck them inside of Grounded 2. I've seen a bunch of speculation and comments about people wanting a dragonfly inside of Grounded 2 as well, and yes, I do know if there is going to be a dragonfly inside of Grounded 2, it's definitely going to need to be a boss, as scientifically dragonflies are like apex predators. They are very good at killing things, and they have like a stupidly high number of like a 94% success rate of capturing their kill. So it could be a really hard boss fight, just like the infected Brumella. Probably not that hard, but on that difficulty scale, it'd be really cool to see a difficult flying boss. And heck, just to throw it out there, instead of having flying buggies inside of Grounded 2, what if we can take the boss wings of the dragonfly and make our own wingsuit? That would be really cool to see. Another creature I would love to see inside the pond for Grounded 2 is going to be some type of big fish predator, similar to the koi fish, but on a bigger scale and a deadlier scale at that. And I would like it if the feature was, it would be like the faction reactivity for the wasp hive. We know that the wasps don't attack you really, and they don't spread out in the yard unless they are provoked. When they are provoked, they go ahead and just come out to the yard and you're able to enter the Brawny Boy bin. If there was something similar like that but for the pond and a fish, it would be really cool to see. And inside the fish's den or something like that, there could be a ton of upgrade rocks, which could be the equivalent of like the fire anthill but for underwater for Grounded 2. I do know some fish like collecting a bunch of rocks for their homes, and the rocks they could collect could be quartzite and marble for our upgrades. The way we could aggravate the fish to come out of its den is by going ahead and making a makeshift hook with a bit of bait on it, which will lure out the fish for a certain amount of time, which means we have to be very fast to go ahead and go inside the fish's den, collect all the rocks before it comes back in and eats us. So what do you guys think about this idea, having a sort of time-based event to collect stuff and get out before the fish sees you? And now the final creature I would love to see inside of Grounded 2 is going to be a silly one, but I would love to see some sort of aquatic snail. We have snails on land inside of Grounded 2. Why don't we just chuck them in the water, turn them aquatic, and we can use their shells to make some sort of makeshift boat? I think that would be really cool to see. Although I'm not too sure how that would work, considering the shell would probably sink in the water before you could float on it, but it's just an idea. But that there is going to be the end of today's video, guys. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed today's video. Let me know down below in the comments what you think about my ideas. The aquatic snail is definitely coming into Grounded 2, I can assure you on that one. It's a silly idea, but it's going to work. I'd just like to say a massive thank you to my channel members, and my tier 3 members was Idiot Plays, Coco, and the Stitchman. I appreciate you guys a lot. And yeah, with all that said, guys, I'll catch you guys in the next video.